Hey, welcome to part 2. I have already done a video about my bullet journal, so I would suggest you watch that first if you've not seen it. It's about how I use my bullet journal in daily life, living housebound with a chronic illness. And today I'm gonna get into more of it. I think first we should look back at the stuff I showed in my previous video. So here you can see lots have been added to the to-do list. I've already colored in some of this stuff in the weekly habit tracker and my daily habit tracker. So this is going good. And here you see the weekly spread. This is the week we were before, and the last week and this week have already been added. I like adding them at the beginning of each week. I don't like laying it out all in advance because I might want to change something, so I want to have that freedom. Or you can see it's kind of messy. It's like I've crossed stuff out and written new stuff in. This is purely practical. This isn't meant to be like a beautiful bullet journal. It's purely practical. So after the monthly journal that I showed you in the previous video, this particular journal has gridded pages that I use for the bullet journal. This is my beautiful start page. That happened. Then I have like a trial page where I use this at the beginning of the year to like count out the different grids, and you know, you still see some of the pencil marks that I made to like sketch out an idea of how I want to use it, how I wanted to use this. Then we come to my first contents page. I don't really use this often, but it is handy to have an overview of everything that is in the journal. Then we get to my goals of 2018. These are like the big philosophical goals, I guess you could say. More like words and not very practical goals. The more practical goals I've called small goals, and they are not like words or affirmations. They are more actual things I want to accomplish. So that's how I have divided up my goals. It's like bigger affirmation type goals and smaller, more practical goals. I made these goals at the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna be able to cross off most of them because this year my focus has shifted somewhat, and my illness is pretty bad, and yeah, so but I'll do that at the end of the year. I'll see what I did and what I didn't do, and it will give me an idea of what I can strive for in the next year. Then we come to the goals I have with my GP. These are very important and a very big part of my bullet journal. Every 6 months, my GP and I come up with goals for me. Well, I come up with goals for me and I email them to him, and he says, okay. But it is something I do with my GP. And these are like rehabilitation type goals. I have ME, so rehabilitation is not really on the table, to be honest, but I still try to keep active and try to stay focused using these goals. These might be interesting to see a bit more. It's biking, walking, drawing, reading, and going outside. Now, you might think, whoa, those goals seem familiar. And that's because these are, let me get back to, these are the weekly goals I had here. So that's how I keep track of my big goals with my GP. I have made them into my weekly tracker and inhabit them into my daily goals. Is inhabit a word for that? I don't know, but I hope this makes sense. Like, I have these goals, and then each week and each day I try to work on one of them, or several, or just, whatever. I kept one empty page if I wanted to make like notes or plan ahead. I never used it, but I thought it might be handy at the beginning of the year, so I filled it in. I haven't used it, so I might not add it to next year's. So yeah, these are my yearly trackers. These are all stuff. Some of these are like goals I wanted to achieve, and some of these are more overviews of things I have done or things that I also have in other places in the journal. For instance, these are my word of the month, and you know, I have those all in each month. They're all next to find another one. They're all, like you can see, here's another one. Here's one, and they're all with the month, but it's helpful to have them all lined up like this to see what I have been focused on this year. It's really nice, like therapeutic way of seeing, oh, this is what I've been focused on. Two other yearly trackers here is if I've gone outside on my own using my electric scooter. That hasn't happened each month, but if I do, I write it down because it's a special day and I write it down. And this is if I've left the house or not. So here you can see how many times I've left the house each month. And like these are also handy things, like if I'm at my doctor's office, I can just show him this and I don't have to show him each month, like flipping back and forth. I can just show him this, see, so that they can see, oh, this is how little she can actually leave her house, which is a very handy thing to have an overview like that. This is another yearly tracker. Two of these I stopped using, so I just put stickers over them. Shout out to Sad Ghost Club, Pony People, and Ambivalently Yours. Yes, I love all three of you so much. Hello, you are in my bullet journal. But this one I still use, and this is the yearly overview of my asthma. So again, we can go back to the month. I know a lot of this will seem like I'm doing the same thing twice, but these yearly overviews are really handy to have, like a quick overview of, you know, all the stuff. And like I said, if I go to my doctor, all I have to show him is this, and I don't have to skip through each month. So like I said in my previous video, I document my asthma health here, my lung health, my asthma, if I'm short of breath or not. And then at the end of the month, I put all the colors in here. So I have a pretty overview. You can see it's almost all green, so I'm doing pretty good in my lungs. Yay, lungs. And I have another one of those here for my mood. Not as green, not as great. Let's just skip that, but it is handy to have an overview like this. Here I've also made overviews of the rest of the yearly goals with my GP. So you can see the reading, drawing, biking and walking are here as well. And this is again just handy if I'm at my doctor's office. I can just show him this. He can see how much I've done, how little I've done, you know, we can talk about that. It's just handy. And not just for the doctor, also for me personally. This is my biking graph. This was supposed to go up and it went down, but it's fine. Each week I bike on my home trainer, and almost each week, and I write down how long I did it. Yeah, it speaks for itself, I guess. So now we get to more non-chronic illness related stuff. Just me keeping track of certain things, or just for fun, or because it's like handy for my administration. This one is more of an administration one. This is the special need taxi, and if I've booked it, how much it will cost me, and if they've taken it off my bank account. That's basically this. It's really handy to have. This one we're gonna skip real quick. This is where I keep track of how much money I spent on things that are not necessary to live, like clothes and stuff. And that's not something I'm going to share with you all, but it is a handy thing to have in your bullet journal. So I'm not going to show you it, but yeah. After that, we have books. I thought it would be fun to have like stacks of books, and I can't read a lot, so it turned out to be one lonely shelf. I've only finished 2 comics this year, and I'm reading a few other books, but yeah, that's okay. Then I keep track of what movie I watched and if I like it or not. This is purely for fun. So I can remember what movie I watched, and if I like them. This is more like I like movies, so I keep track of it this way. But I've noticed it also helps me increase my memory, because like in January, apparently I watched Bad Moms. I have no real memory of that, but seeing it here, I'm like, oh yeah, I did watch that. It was kind of fun, not great, but okay. And it like helps me remember things I've done. And in this case, movies, but it's nice to remember movies as well. And I do the same for TV shows I watch each month. And then, yeah, I think this speaks for itself. I'm sorry if you need more explanation, but you're not gonna get it. No. I have a little wish list in here. These are things like fun stuff, like big outings, big fun stuff I had planned to do or have done throughout the year. And this is like a little morale booster for me to be like, oh yeah, I went to Star Wars. Yeah, I did a makeup workshop. Yes, I saw Alt J with my friend Dimfna. And it's like a good way to remember the fun stuff, and yeah, it's like colorful and fun. So I'm gonna do this again next year, definitely, because it's just nice to be reminded of fun stuff you did. This one I don't really use. I thought it would be handy to have like blog or video ideas, but I never really blog. I never really make videos, so I don't really use this page. I didn't even write down the bullet journal stuff, like it's all just ugh. Then I have a few empty pages that I kept in case I wanted to add anything else to it. And then we come to the monthly and weekly overviews that are already discussed in the previous video. One of the things I've added now is a pain diary. This is something I'm doing right now. I'm keeping track of what kind of pain I have, how high a level it is. My GP asked me to do it, so I'm doing this now, and we'll see if I can get some kind of pain relief from this, like what kind would work and stuff like that. So a bullet journal is really handy for all that kind of stuff. You just have everything in one book, and I can just go to my GP, show him my pain journal, show him my asthma, show him my mood, show him I'm working on the goals, and it's just a very practical, organized way to keep track of chronic illness and stuff. Hope this was informative at least a bit, and not too fuzzy and hazy, and yeah. I don't know how to end it. Do a bullet journal if you have a chronic illness, because it's really handy. It's really practical and good to have. And I hope this gave you some idea of how you can use it. And if you don't have a chronic illness, you can still use bullet journal, of course. So yeah, I hope this was somewhat informative, and bye. Bye. You can see for today, I don't know how to oh no, how do I video it? But today, every 6 months, I keep going back and forward. Whoop. Where a lot of this will be just sorry, my brain is so tired and I don't know how to make sentences today. Yeah, so Okay, focus. So yeah, these but this is the words are tough today. Oh, my nose is runny. God damn it. I'm sorry, it's a mess today. I'm gonna edit all of this out. This is another yearly tracker.